I'm going to read an article that was written by Denise Davies about Margaret Jacobson. And Margaret Jacobson was a street lady, and she was born in Barbados and then ended up dying on the streets of Hamilton. Bag Lady was just worn out, doctors say. 1 year on the streets is like a lifetime anywhere else. The streets where she lived are where she took her last breath. Her name was Margaret Jacobson. Bag Lady, street person, chronic schizophrenic. For more than 10 years, she lived in downtown alleys, stairwells, parking garages, and on doorsteps. She was called Maggie J. and Princess Margaret by those who knew her well. On December 6th, at age 51, her life ended. She was found slumped over in her chair in a Mr. Submarine shop on King and Emerald, where she'd gone to escape the cold. She was taken by ambulance, semi-conscious, to Hamilton General Hospital and pronounced dead at 9:50 p.m. Doctors say she was just worn out, that her heart simply stopped. Little wonder, given the years of hard drinking, electroshock therapy, nights in the cold, and heavy smoking. 1 year on the streets is like a lifetime anywhere else. A nurse at the general recognized her in the social services department, and police were called in. 8 days later, she was buried in Hamilton Municipal Cemetery, Section 10, Row 39, Grave 8. There was no funeral, no memorial, no tombstone. Only a wooden box and a mound of frozen dirt. Her boyfriend, Bob Dixon, and that's Bob Dixon there, found out she died when he went to collect Margaret's welfare check last week. He's since called others to tell them the news. A memorial is being planned. You can view Margaret as a victim treated unfairly by a system which took her son from her and forced her on to the streets. So I am her son. My name's Jeremy, and I was adopted, and I'm happily, it was all good. I'm thankful that she gave birth to me. So I continue on here. Or you can view her as I did, as a survivor, a fighter who refused to live by the rules, who lived life her way, even if it came at a heavy price. It was that stubbornness combined with the sweetness that was still visible beneath the pocked skin and matted hair that drew me to her. I first met Margaret 3 years ago at the Wesley Center drop in shelter. Staff warned me she was sometimes ornery and might not want to talk, but when I sat down, she offered me a wide, toothless smile and a warm hello. She eagerly showed me the ripped calendar photos of beautiful Caribbean beaches she carried in her pocket and asked about my life, how long I'd been a reporter, if I had any children. Her parents were missionaries with the Assembly of God Church who raised her in the British West Indies. Okay, so her dad was named Abraham and her mom was Verna, and they were part of the Pentecostal missionaries. And so they went to Barbados, where Margaret was born, and then to Trinidad, and then to Antigua. She talked about the son she'd given up for adoption in 1972. Again, that's me, March of 1972. And the years she'd spent in the Hamilton Psychiatric Hospital. Almost a year later, we met again at Good Shepherd Center's Ladies Drop In. Perhaps it's there. Surprisingly, she remembered my name and told me again about the Denises she'd known. She was still spending her days and nights on the streets, although in the winter she'd come to the Wesley Center overnight shelter or to Bob's home. She never stayed long. She valued her freedom too much. So I met Bob Dixon years ago when I first found out uh, about Margaret. I knew I was adopted. I just didn't know who she was because there was some non disclosure stuff that you get. So here's something from the Children's Aid Society, and they don't say a lot about the birth name. Writing Margaret's story raised troubling questions in my mind about the system and how it can help those who refuse it. In many ways, Margaret's life mirrored changes in the mental health system and how those with mental illness are treated. In the end, Margaret made her own decisions, even if it was through an unfocused lens. Margaret left this world with little fanfare, few noticed, but to those of us who did, she'll be missed. The world will be a less interesting place without her.